I offered some tutelage as an untrained teacher at Shingo Secondary School for around 6 months. Then my father, who is really hardworking and mostly through life I've been moving around with, went to Mombasa, where I joined him and did some certified public accountants exams, section 1. Then I received a letter to join Grantonne University, main campus job, where I studied Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science. All through the university education, I tried hard to educate myself. I remember even when joining the university, I was enlisted as an enumerator for the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. So I went, just reported, came back, and I did the job, and around 29,000 shillings, and went back to university. All through the long holidays, I've been, during university, I've been doing small jobs. If you go to supermarket and see these merchandisers, people telling you buy Aerial or buy Ushindi, I've been doing that. And I used to earn money, and that helped me get to my university education. And in between that, as I was doing the sales, there's a time I was doing sales for the modems, these Safaricom modems. And I took some to Elegant Investments 1996 Limited, where I met the managing director. And as I sold, I asked for a job opportunity there. And I got one. I started working while still in campus at Elegant Investments during the short period of holidays where I was earning money. After that, I did my internship, or what they call placements, in agrochemical and food company. And then I cleared university education in 2013, joined Elegant as a sales and marketing manager. I did so well. After working there as a sales and marketing manager, I realized some gaps in the organization. And I was able to actually grow the organization. I joined the organization when it had only one branch employee, and I managed to expand it to open over 8 branches around, and even in Nairobi. So as I was working in Elegant, so many people wanted to come and have projects done for them, but no one was there to do that. So I got back to school, studied project management, that is in 2014 and 2015, after which I began the project management division in Elegant, where I've done a number of projects, even which are relevant to the docket I'm applying for. That is WASH documents with World Visions and the like. So in a nutshell, that is me, and I am married to a wife who is female, and I'm blessed with 2 children. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll ask you 2 concurrent questions. In fact, not 2, yeah, 3. I'll advise you write it down. And I also want to advise you that you have about, we have spent about 10 minutes. So you have only 1 hour. So just what experience do you have in the following areas? Provision of water, services, sanitation, environment, climate change, natural resources, Another question is, what would be the legal relationship between your docket, and water service provider? From your experience, that's another question. From your experience, what would you consider to be the biggest challenge towards delivering palatable water to the people of Trinidad? How do you intend to address the challenge? Please mention to us at least 2 water catchment areas in each sub-county. You can answer those.
Thank you, Chair. I will start with your first question, and I think my relevant experience in provision 1, provision of water services. As I told you, since 2015, after doing my master's in project management, I have been able to do many water projects. To name but a few, doing things like water pumps for communities. I have done masonry water tanks that provide water to societies. I have done some piping works that have also provided water to societies that I've worked in. Number 2, you talked about sanitation. My experience in sanitation has been also in the project management.
Yes. I want to take you back.
Yes.
You said you've done water plants, you've done piping works.
Yes.
As an engineer, as a what?
As the project manager.
Project manager.
Yeah, I've been a project manager for Elegant Investments and group of companies. Yes. So I've been heading those projects as the project manager. Then when it comes to sanitation activities, or my experience in that is also by doing WASH programs with organizations such as World Vision. Still as the project manager, Elegant Investments and group of companies, where we've done pit latrines, we've done VIP latrines for institutions and schools. When you talk of matters sanitation also, I have done some sanitation work in various houses that we manage as Elegant Investments in 1996 Limited. Number 3, you've talked about environment. I am an environmentalist by profession, and I've been practicing environmental practices all through my life. So the experience that I have there is that I am an EAA Associate, Environmental Impact Assessment Associate, registered with the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA. And I think I have provided that. So matters to do with environmental impact assessment, matters to do with management of environment, I am experienced in that. Climate change basically goes hand in hand with environment, and my experience in climate change and maybe mitigating those factors include planting of trees and just general civic engagement with communities on how to mitigate and how to adapt to climate change, which I have done throughout. I can say even throughout my life, because I've been planting trees even after I cleared my fourth form. Natural resources still goes hand in hand with the environment. So I have been a natural resource management officer, because when you're dealing with the environment, it is just the natural resources that are around you. And protecting the waters, protecting trees, soil conservation, and the likes. Then when I go to your second question, you've asked me my legal relationship between the department, if I am approved, with TAVEVO. I believe TAVEVO is a public company. They have the board and they have their management. But through my notes I've been going through, the CECM, Water, Environment, Natural Resource, has a 1% stake in TAVEVO. So I will be a shareholder in TAVEVO. Then from my experience, that is your third question, the biggest challenge to delivering potable water in Taita Taveta. Mr. Chair, the biggest challenge, I believe, so far is lack of a master plan. Lack of a master plan, because that is where it all starts.
Just clarification.
Yes.
Is it a master plan for the
for water?
county or water?
For the whole county, for water delivery. So that will highlight the problems that are there in water and how to engage them. That will bring out all the other things that are lying underneath. Things like infrastructure, things like sources of water, things like the homesteads that require water, and the amount of water that is there, and maybe households that have water. Then fourth, mention at least 2 water catchment in each sub-county. I'll start with Taita sub-county, where we have the Ngangao catchment area. I believe also in Taita, we have the Vuria catchment area. When we go down to Mwatate sub-county, we have Chavia catchment area. Also in Mwatate sub-county, we have Susu catchment area. When we go to Taveta, you have the Kitobo catchment area, and also in Taveta, you have the Njoro Kubwa catchment area. If we go back to Voi sub-county, we have Mwandawiro catchment area. In Voi sub-county, we also have Kasigao catchment area. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I want to take you back to your relationship with TAVEVO.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Because we have a tendency whereby the county governments, not specifically Taita Taveta, where they want to micromanage the water company and even demand funds from the water company to run their businesses. We want to tell you, want us to tell us what type of overseas are you going to be? Are you going to suffocate the management?
Mr. Chair, I believe I will be a professional when it comes to management. I will understand my roles and responsibilities as pertain to TAVEVO. That I am an official member of TAVEVO, and TAVEVO is a public limited company that has its own board of directors and management. So the best thing is only to consult, cooperate with them, and just share notes on how they can improve water service provision, which is my mandate as the CECM, Water, Environment, Natural Resource. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are you aware that the board, at times those boards have no mandate to even transfer or to deal with the staff? At times their staff are also removed by the county government, and the county government imposes its own staff in the water company.
I am not aware, Mr. Chair, of that, but if approved, you will see that TAVEVO will be working independently and autonomously as is required or executed.
The next question will be from Honorable Anselim.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to congratulate you, Mr. Grantonne, for your nomination as CECM, Water, Environment, Sanitation, Climate Change, Natural Resources. I have just a few questions for you. Number one, give this committee the relevance of your qualification and the role you are about to assume, the role you have been nominated for. We want to create a match between your area of specialization and the role that you have been nominated for, and test suitability. There's something else that I'd like you to look at. According to you, is TAVEVO as a county corporation, is it still viable as a county investment? And we justify. We want you to tell us the company, is it still viable or not? And if yes or no, I need to justify. Something else. Now that your department also covers it has various directives. In the context now of, by purchasing a rig, the county intended to solve water issues. Now, in the context of environment and climate change, is the county rig a curse or a blessing? And you also justify that. Finally, what will be the areas of cooperation between you, the CC, and the county assembly? The areas of cooperation or your interaction, relationship between the office of the CC, water, blah, 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 and the county assembly. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'll answer them in the order that they came in. Number one, the first question was the relevance of qualifications to the role I assume. If I can go down on my qualifications, I have a master's in project management. And as you know, there are so many projects that need to be implemented in the department. I will use the qualifications or whatever I studied in class to ensure that all projects are done on time, finished, and that they meet the quality required. That is one.
Before you proceed,
Yes.
as a matter of clarification,
Yes.
as the CC to be,
Yes. Yes.
will you be a policy maker or an implementer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My roles are policy making, but as the CC and with the nature that I have, I believe in getting your hands dirty. So as I put in the policies, I can be hands-on and hands-off on my projects. That I should be able to go and see and monitor and evaluate these projects that have been done, and not just sit in the office and wait for reports. That is how I intend to run the department if approved by this House. Going down to my first, my undergraduate qualification, that is environmental science. It goes totally hand in hand with all the areas of the department that I have been nominated to when we talk of issues environment, issues climate change, and issues of natural resource management. I will employ all the knowledge that I have to make sure that our environment is well protected, our natural resources are well and sustainably used, and to make sure that also we mitigate and try to adapt to these effects of climate change. Then going even further down to my qualifications as a certified public accountant 2, CPA 2, I know that in the department we will have funds that are going to be used, and I will employ the knowledge that I have acquired to make sure that the resources are used efficiently and that there's integrity in spending of the resources. And maybe institute also some controls in that. Then number 2, the question was the viability of TAVEVO, and is the investment justified? Mr. Chair, how viable TAVEVO is, I can't know, because I haven't been privy to their books of account. But it is necessary because we need a water and sanitation service provider in the county. So I believe it's just empowering it as a department and as a county to help it achieve its mandate and make it profitable if it isn't.
Mr. Mwandawiro has just informed this House that he is equally an accountant, apart from being an environmentalist.
Not a practicing one.
And besides accounting, practicing accounting, let's go with the classwork. TAVEVO, my acknowledging that TAVEVO is a public company. All public companies are expected or do publish financial reports, the balance sheet, statement of blah blah blah. I just read them, I don't know them in fact. So I just see them published. So if these statements are published, and here Mr. Mwandawiro, an accountant, again tells us that he is not privy. So the real thing is Tavevo viable as a county investment or not?
Through the chair, I haven't been able to look at the accounts, and it is true that such organizations must publish their books of accounts. Then going back to the rig that was purchased to solve water issues, and whether it's a curse or a blessing. I call it a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because the biggest challenge that we have here in Taita Taveta is that most of the boreholes that are drilled end up having minerals that are harmful to the consumption of human beings. There are boreholes that have been drilled and there are high levels of maybe lead, which you all know is poisonous, and maybe other chemicals like iron and so on and so on and so on. So it is there, it will solve problems, but if the boreholes that will be drilled can be analyzed properly, and maybe a feasibility study is done so that the borehole drilled is not a waste of resources. That water coming out of the borehole is safe to use for human consumption.
So according to you, was it a necessary investment or not? And then finally, corruption. Corruption in the water sector. Several times we have had things to do with misappropriation, several stories to do with corruption around the department that you are just about to get into. What commitment or what comment are you going to give towards that? And again, patronage and domineering character of some staff within those environs. Are you going to be a CEC with authority, or a CEC who just who waits to be invited to open taps or to go and launch projects, whether they are the rightfully designed projects or not? And again, still on the part of corruption, the runaway or impulse implementation of projects, and some which are not even budgeted for.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Was it a necessary investment? Was the rig a necessary investment? Well, this rig, if the only way you can assess the investment returns is the return on investment. That if there is the rig, how much money has it been bringing in? How much did it cost? What is the lifetime span of that rig? And is it really a necessary investment? That is something that through the chair, if approved, I will look into and see whether the rig needs to be maintained, or advise Tavevo accordingly to dispose the rig. Then on matters corruption, the governor, through his many speeches, has been very clear on issues to do with corruption. That his government has zero tolerance to corruption. And I intend to work, if approved, in that same line, that there will be zero tolerance to corruption in my department. And one of the best ways to do that is open up a line that any matters to do with corruption can be reported, and reported in a way that the whistleblower cannot be known. So those are avenues that I intend to use to prevent corruption. The other issue is how I will manage or be a leader in my department once approved. Once approved, I say I intend to be a hands-on, hands-off sort of manager, where I won't be sitting in the office waiting to be told that this and this has happened. I will schedule my diary to make sure that I am in the field to see what is going on. Then I'll go to your fourth question, which was areas of cooperation between me and the county government. Basically, these two arms of government, that is the executive and the legislature, work hand in hand. There should be cooperation and basically good working relationships between us. One of the things that are there is that we will be preparing maybe budgets for the department, which will be passed in this house. It will be good to engage with members and see what is required in the area and what needs to be done. We also need to do policies, and this is the policy or the lawmaking institution. So there will be areas of cooperation between the department and the house in that area. We also have committees, the water committee and the environment committee, which will be working hand in hand with the department. And basically, I need to prepare reports that need to be brought to the house, to this house for submission. So those are the areas where we'll be cooperating. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, before I ask another member of the committee to ask questions, let me ask you another question. Can you kindly mention the environmental challenges in the county that might cause an environmental disaster and how you plan to ameliorate the same?
Pardon, Chair.
I said, mention key environmental challenges in the county that might cause an environmental disaster. And maybe how would you plan to curb the same?
Thank you.
Another question. What do you consider to be the main factors contributing to climate change in the county? And how do you address them?
Thank you, Chair. I'll answer the questions in the same order they came. You're talking of environmental challenges and I think green disasters in the county. And one of the biggest challenges is climate change, which we are facing the effects of at the moment. We have matters to do with habitat destruction. Habitat destructions that people are encroaching and that is the other issue that comes in, encroachment on these catchment areas, on forests. Then we're looking at also basically living in itself, sustaining livelihoods that has led to basically this integration of the environment where you go farm and use chemicals that are harmful to the environment. People also, while living, need to eat, and most of them are using biofuels, and this has led to deforestation. So all these things, including deforestation, will bring environmental disaster to our county. And then when I come to your second question, what are the main factors contributing to climate change? Basically, if we start with climate change is just the change in weather patterns and climatic patterns. And climate change is caused by emission of greenhouse gases. These gases go on and create a blanket-like effect on the earth that changes and brings about change in climate. So basically, matters to do with deforestation, matters to do with fuel and energy use, that is use of fossil fuels which discharge greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. We also are doing a lot of farming here, and farming also discharges greenhouse emissions to the environment, and which are contributing to climate change. And things like transport. A long time ago, people used to walk. Now there are motorbikes everywhere. All these are emitting greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Our next person I'll call to ask the question will be Honorable Mwandawiro.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations for being nominated for this position. And I'll go straight to the questions. What measures will you propose in tackling climate change in a bid to deliver clean water to the people of Taita Taveta? What measures do you propose in tackling climate change in a bid to deliver clean water to the people of Taita Taveta? Next question. How will you access the Water Sector Trust Fund and other stakeholders for the benefit of the people of Taita Taveta? How will you access Water Sector Trust Fund and other stakeholders for the benefit of the people of Taita Taveta? Next question. What do you consider to be the stake of your department in Tavevo? What do you consider to be the stake of your department in Tavevo? Next question. Give us your views on handing over of county water projects to Tavevo.
Through the chair, can we third question? Repeat the third question.
What do you consider to be the stake of your department in Tavevo? What do you consider to be the stake of your department in Tavevo? Next question. give us your views on of delivering this critical service, which to a large extent remains ignored. Kindly brief this committee on the state of county sanitation services and your plans of delivering these critical services, which to a large extent remains ignored. Next question. What will you be the role of your advocate in the management of natural resources? Then it is, what is your net worth? And then you name 5 female governors. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Through the chair, I believe we began at measures proposed in taking climate change. If through the chair, that was the first question. The measures proposed in tackling climate change. Well, climate change is real, and climate change is here with us, and we must really tackle it. And there are 2 ways of tackling climate change. You either adapt or mitigate. There are adaptive measures and mitigative measures. The ways to mitigate are by reducing the amount of greenhouse gases that are being emitted in the environment. And it still goes back to that we should increase our tree cover, we should increase our forest cover. We should ban logging. We should make sure that our trees are protected because they sequestrate carbon dioxide from the environment. Other things to do are good agricultural practices that are reducing the emission of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Matters to do with transport, we can even go further and try and implement and try to reduce transport, the amount of cars that are there, maybe through options like carpooling. If maybe members or people are going at one particular directions, all of them, they don't need to use a car each. They can carpool and reduce the amount of greenhouse gases that are being emitted. We should also come up with renewable energy, types of energies that we can use that are safe for the environment. Things like solar power, and maybe use of biogas. We can encourage that. And biogas will also reduce the emission of methane, which is a greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. So the second question was access to the water sector trust fund and other stakeholders. I believe we are blessed because the chair of the water sector trust fund comes from this county. He's been around. That is, I think, Mr. Bindey. So it's always as the member coming up and also in collaboration with the house, going to these people and talking to them and asking for funds. And I believe those funds can be accessed because they are channeled through a water service provider, which we already have, and that is Javevo. So that is how we will access those funds from such stakeholders. Then my stake in the stake of the department, if I am approved, in Javevo. I believe that was already answered, that we will B, the department basically through the CECM owns 1% stake of Tavevo Water Company. Then when we go to the next question, was give your views of handing over county projects to Tavevo. By law, the county cannot provide water to the residents. Water is provided by a water service provider, which is Tavevo. So, anytime a project is done, it should be handed over to the water service provider so that they can go ahead and provide the same service to the residents. The next question was the state of county sanitation services and my plans, if approved. Well, the state of county sanitation is dire. As we talk right now, I don't think we have a sewerage collection and treating facility in our municipalities. It's not there. Most of the people, as I was reading through, I realized around 86% are basically using pit latrines and sock pits and septics, which is also not viable. It is good that we provide sewerage facilities in our municipalities. That will help us collect the water, treat it, and basically produce things like fertilizer during treatment of waste, and that is that waste effluent. And in that same regard, after treating and treating properly, the water can be rechanneled back and used. So that will help in elevating the water problem in our county. The other issues are maybe garbage disposal when it comes to sanitation, and this is really sad. And I can even maybe go back to the state when our governor opened this assembly. He talked about the waste disposal in Landi, which is really an eyesore to the community, and waste is not being disposed of properly. And I think the same is happening in Taveta, and this is really not good for the environment and for the community. And what are my plans? If approved by this House, I believe we need to have a sewerage treatment plant and have a sewer system in our municipalities. It can be costly, but if we do plans and have the papers, we might get some funding. And I believe, working in collaboration with the House, we can be able to do that. When it comes to solid waste management, I believe there's a solid waste, Sustainable Solid Waste Management Act of 2022, which is really a very good document, and it emphasizes on how to treat solid waste. That you need to segregate solid waste at source. And beauty is, this is something that I have been doing myself. If you go to my home, you'll find that compostable waste is disposed, and recyclable waste is disposed is collected in different containers. And that helps because now the compostable material can be used to generate manure. And if you happen to get someone who needs these recyclable materials, they can be used. And this is also envisioned in that act, that where the world is going to and where we need to be is in a circular economy, where waste is treated not as waste, but a resource. And that is working. I have heard of people who are using plastic to make cargoes. So that is where we need to progress towards and look at. And I believe maybe with the cooperation of this House, once elected, that is where we will be. And I believe Taita will be a green county and even recognized internationally if we sit down and work together and implement such policies. Then we're talking of role of docket in management of natural resources. Basically, the line separating functions of the national government and the county government when it comes to natural resource management is very thin. And if I remember well, is that Schedule 4 of the Constitution aligns functions of the national government and functions of the county government. And when it comes to natural resource, basically ours will be just implementing the national regulations that are set. So that is the role when it comes to natural resources. You went on to ask my network. I am worth around 27.1 million Kenya shillings. 38.7 thereabouts being assets current and long term, including a house that I have in Kikambala, a rental house, the cars, maybe policies due, and I have liabilities current and long term of around 11 million, giving me a net worth of around 27.1 million. Then 5 female governors. 5 female governors. I'll start with maybe chair of the Council of Governors. I'll go back to that. The name is escaping my head. Then I'll start with Kwale County. Her Excellency Achani. And the Governor of Homa Bay County, Her Excellency Gladys Wanga. The Governor of Meru County, Her Excellency Mwangaza. The Governor of Embu County, Cecily Mbarire. The Governor of Machakos County. The names are really those are 4. Maybe I'll come back to those names when the mind gets to that. I'll remind you. I think that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, the next questions will come from one Honorable John Solomon.
First of all, Mwandawiro, I want to thank you for being one of the nominees, and also congratulate Governor for being well focused and see fit for this program. So, most welcome. My question is very simple. Can you share your technical views on the following subjects? Operations of the county water drilling rig. Number 2 will be share your technical views on the following. This county Tavevo water tracking service to public institutions. Then natural resources.
Pardon on the second question, please.
Can you share your technical views on the county Tavevo water tracking service to public institutions? Then the following, share your technical views on the natural resources and county local revenue. The last one, sanitation and public health. But I'd like when Speaker allow me to put the last question to Mwandawiro. What is being consumed in Mombasa 24 hours? And the source of water is just behind us here. That is Mzima Spring. But we find the residents in Taita Taveta County, or rather in Voi, water is being rationed. It is being supplied some few days in a week. And there's a lot of complaint on that. Most likely, God willing, you are going to take over this project. How are you going to work on this? Because it has been for quite some time, and the residents in Taita Taveta County are complaining. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Through the chair, you have talked about the operations of the county water drilling rig. I think this is what are my technical comments on this. I am not able to technically comment on the county water rig because I am not well versed with the mechanics of a rig. So basically, that will involve dealing with the person who deals with the rig and see what is required and whether it meets the standards and what does a rig need and what does our rig have and how operational is it. Because by the look of things, just looking at it, it looks quite obsolete. That is just by looking at it, though looks deceive, it might be really working. So just by the look of it, in a layman's view, that it doesn't look really operational. Then the water tracking to institutions. I believe this is the use of water, the water buzzers to deliver water to institutions. Being that we really don't have water to each and every institution that is piped. This is something that is really necessary for the institutions. I think the best thing is to look at it and see whether this service can be subsidized and whether the subsidy is viable and is economical, such that our public institutions can be supplied with water, or these public learning institutions, because our children are really suffering. People are not studying because they have to go and fetch water. So that is something that should be done, and at the best and affordable price possible. Then natural resources and county revenue. My technical perspective will be sustainable harvesting. That's simple, that sustainable harvesting of resources. That is harvesting that can meet our needs, while at the same time they don't jeopardize the future needs of coming generations. So we need to use our resources sustainably. That will be my technical input when it comes to harvesting of natural resources. Then sanitation and public health. This is also something that is really important. As it is, I think when I was reading through some literature, around 14% of the population don't have any means of disposing of maybe fecal matter. That means they are using open defecation. And this is harmful to public health because it brings out a number of diseases, things to do with cholera, the likes of bilharzia. Those are matters that need to be addressed, and that means that we need to work on our sanitation and make sure sanitation is properly done and everyone can access proper sanitation. The same applies when it comes to disposal of waste. We are having open disposal. As you can see, I was going through Facebook the other day, and is it Facebook and the WhatsApp groups? There were some sodas which were disposed in the site at land, and people were going and picking the sodas and taking them. These are expired materials which are harmful to their health. So sanitation is something that should be key. And you don't know how many people are roaming around there and what is being disposed. Maybe there are so many hazardous wastes that are being disposed there that are harmful to public health, harmful to your health, harmful to the children, and they're just disposed of openly. That, if I am approved, must come to an end, and see, we need to work together and collaborate and see how we can dispose our waste. Then the fact that, to summarize it, is that we are suffering from lack of water, and we are a water surplus county. It is painful. It is very painful that we have all these sources of water, they are channeled, and we can't even meet our own needs. The best thing, I believe, will be working as a unit. All leaders of this county coming together, all members of county assembly, elected leaders, the members of parliament, the senator, the governor, and going to this office. I believe if all leaders go, these are 32 plus the 5, plus the governor to Maji House today, they will get audience with the minister. And this will help us sort our problem. That yes, this is a resource, it can be used, but as it is going to help others, let it first quench the need of our county before it goes on. I believe also during the recent celebrations, the governor touched on it, that currently what is happening is the old pipeline, there is already some setup of taking extra water to Mombasa without even having some benefits here. I believe through lobbying, through talking, through consultations, we can have some waters or some T's erected so that they can help solve our water problem here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The last questions will be, last but not least, by Honorable Nancy.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Grantonne, good afternoon. Okay, my questions will be on problems facing different counties and this county. How would you handle a situation whereby you've been invited to appear before the committee, a committee in the county assembly, together with Tabevo, management of Tabevo, to resolve an issue, but Tabevo refuses to comply? How would you deal with such a situation? Question 2. How would you handle disconnection of water supply by the Coast Water Service Board due to unpaid bills by Tabevo? Question 3. In the event that the assembly or one of the committees has invited you to present or to give information pertaining your docket, and the governor has asked you not to show up, how would you conduct yourself and why? My last and final question. How would you handle a conflict between your docket and local, national Environment and Management Authority officials on matters natural resources and environment? Thank you. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Through the chair, if I am told to appear before the committee with Tabevo and Tabevo fails, how will I handle such a situation? Basically, I will advise Tabevo that it is important for the management to do so, because communication solves a lot of problems. Most of these problems or most of these conflicts are there because there are barriers to communication. But if communication takes place, then such things can be avoided. And if they don't, then I believe everyone will carry their own cross. I will come. I will present myself because those are part of my roles and responsibilities. Then a second question was, how will I handle disconnection of water by the Water Service Board due to unpaid bills? This in itself will bring a lot of problems, because if water is disconnected, that means our residents will not be able to access water. If water is disconnected, the people we were maybe as you as elected leaders were brought in to serve, and as a nominated member, I have been taken, if approved, to serve, will lack water. So it will be important to solve that problem. And I believe, looking at matters, maybe if you look at it nationally, the number of times the Kenyan government has had to go out of its way to bail out national or corporations like Kenya Airways. I believe it's employing the same, that will come and maybe discuss with the county assembly and see whether we can help out in sorting out the bill so that our people can have water, as we look on ways and methods to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Then, if I am invited to present and give information, and the governor doesn't ask me to show up, just as it is, and maybe by seeing all the way our governor has been carrying himself, I don't think that can happen. Because even in his speeches, he's been saying that he will be accountable to the people. So that's this is a very unlikely event that can happen. But if it comes to be, I know the duties and responsibilities that are there to me, and if approved, I believe I will take oath to serve, and one of those responsibilities is to appear. So I will appear before the assembly. Conflict between my docket and NEMA. In the line of duty, conflicts do arise each and every time. And the best thing is to just resolve the conflict through various methods, either cooperating, avoiding, or compromising. So it's taking a conflict at a time and seeing how is this conflict and how do I resolve it in an amicable manner. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I think, yes, the member for Sagala.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and the nominee for this ticket. First of all, I congratulate you for being nominated for this ticket. And ask you some few questions. The first one is, it's just most of the water catchments areas and water sources in our county have been affected by climate change. What plans will you put in order to restore water in these catchments or water sources? Number two, can you explain in a nutshell how a water policy is formulated? Number three, can you name some laws or acts which should apply in managing and directing the water budget of the nominated to be. Number 4, what are the major water sources in our county? And you can also mention where they are located in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you. I think if approved, that will be the Chair of the Water and Sanitation Board for this technical question. The water catchments and my plans. I remember maybe growing up, there was a stream that was just outside our house. And this is the case all over. And I think people who are conservative, who are conversant with maybe Veruga, know that there was a stream that was going even in between Sagasa Shopping Center and Mwakshimba. There was a stream that was there. And I remember growing up fetching water just outside the house. And when I used to go and visit my grandmother in Wundani, Sungululu, there's a place in Bogodini, if I can say, with our chickiness growing up, there was a lot of water. We would go and do just small dams, put in some bricks and mud, and have a mini dam there and swim there. And there's a time I was really keen for that. So basically, this is loss of water catchment is because of habitat destruction. And my plan and the vision that I have for this department and our water catchments is through consultation with the Assembly, if we can be able to preserve and manage our highlands. If we can plant trees, because, and it's just informing these farmers, hey, you're planting maybe maize in this field. If you plant maize, at the end of the day, when you're harvesting, it's maybe 1 or 2 bags because the soils have been exhausted. Why can't we try and re-engineer, in collaboration with the agriculture department, and do trees? And I can quote and say maybe cash trees, that you are doing this, this is how much you're earning. If you do maybe has avocado on this same acre, you will maybe suffer for around 3 years, but after 3 years, this is how much you'll be earning. That will increase tree cover in our highlands. And maybe even go ahead and talk to these people, because there are things that are there that have been provided even in these new laws that are coming in. That is payment for ecosystem or services, or payment for ecological services. That, hey, there was a catchment here. Why can't you maybe plant bamboos here? And then we go back and look for those funds and channel them towards those people who have protected that environment, get those funds, and these waters, I believe, even in less, because Michuki did it, in 3 years, water was coming out of a dry river. If we can do that and work together in harmony, I believe a lot of water catchment areas will revive. That is the vision that is there with me. Just come in so much. Water and the nature is resilient. In my docket, some of the bills that are there, I am aware of climate, climate change bill, or I think of 2021, which is now an act, I tend to believe. There is the Taita Taveta County, because we also have the Environmental Act, MCA of 1999, and the current one which was put out, that is the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022. Then on the third question, please, through the chair.
In a nutshell, just explain the procedures and how to come up with the water policy.
Briefly, a water policy, basically, first of all, identify the need, identify the gap, and the policies or the drafts can come either through the House, or I can raise a policy and bring it to the House, if approved. Then the major water sources in Taita Taveta, we have the Mzima Springs, which are in Voi County, and I believe Njoro Springs, which are in Taveta sub-county, and also Chala is also a major water source in Taveta sub-county. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Honorable Mwandawiro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I take this opportunity also to congratulate you, Brother Samboja, for being nominated in this very sensitive docket. I've had you talk mostly on trees, preserving trees. My question is, do you aware that there are so many trees which cover most of the areas and they are not friendly, especially in water catchment area? And what measures will you take to see that those trees are replaced? The second question is, there is a big outcry from the people of Kishushe, Sangeni, and areas of Kisheni. What measures will you take if you happen to get this chance?
Thank you. I am aware that there are trees which are not friendly to catchment areas, and this has come in over time because these were foreign species introduced. We've been having our local species which are very good, and they have been replaced with trees like eucalyptus, which are not friendly at all to catchment areas. So you can't really ignore the fact that they are also in a way protecting the environment, because they are providing vegetation cover and they are conserving the soil. Replacing them will be a big issue, because such foreign species are very resilient. You can't down an eucalyptus, go back the other day, you'll see a spout shooting. You can't read in Beruga, and you know, since you come and you are my member there, you know many springs that have been there. If you go up maybe through Lugongo, Lwamanambo, there was a lot of water, but now it's not there. It's because of such issues. So if we go back to those catchments and introduce this species, then we will be able to produce much more water. The outcry in Kishushe, Sangeni, and Kishenyi also affects me, because as it is, we are getting water at 200 shillings currently in Beruga at such times. This should show that really climate change is real. And I never thought growing up that Kishenyi can really dry up, because we grew up with so many myths about Kishenyi. I remember growing up and we used to say there's a snake with 7 eyes in Kishenyi, and swimming there. Seeing it in that state is really saddening. The issue is encroachment. All the way upstream, people are farming, and we are farmers. Yes, we need the cabbages, we need the beetroots, we need the spinach, but people are farming all the way to the farm. Kishenyi is dry now, but people are farming in Kishenyi. So we need to protect almost 30 meters around these water sources. And this entails biting the bullet. Can we be able to sacrifice? It entails a lot of sacrifice. That if we work together as a house, with the executive, if nominated or if approved, by going back, educating these people, telling them these practices are what is drying up Kishenyi. Because Kishenyi now is open. Even if, and the good thing is there's a project that is coming up through the Water Sector Trust Fund and Tabego. I saw it being advertised and tendered. But even if we desealed Kishenyi today and still carry on with those practices, Kishenyi will dry. We need to change, and we need to change for the better. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think we have 2 more nominees. Mr. Mwandawiro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Congratulations, my brother Grantonne, for your nomination. I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, how will you deal with the issues of uncounted water, as an acceptable level is 25% and now has taken a shift to 38? Question number 2, how will you deal with illegal connections, leakages, and billing customers on estimates, especially in Voi and Taveta, as it is leading to low billing against water supplied by Coast Water Services Board and billed monthly?
Can you come again on the second question?
Question 2, how will you deal with illegal connection, leakages, and billing customers on estimate, especially in Voi and Taveta, as it is leading to low billing against water supplied by Coast Water Services Board and billed monthly? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yeah, your time is up, so but be very brief.
Thank you. Through the chair, how to deal with unaccounted water. That is a global problem that most nations are facing. That water is lost through leakages, illegal connections, maybe bursting of the pipes, and all that. How to deal with that is to improve infrastructure. We need to improve our infrastructure, coming with the latest technologies that can reduce, because some of these pipes that were laid down during the colonial era, and when you pump, everything leaks. So we need to really come in and now change the infrastructure. how to deal with the illegal connections. Basically, that can be also a consultative aspect that I can come, if approved, and come up with heavy fines for illegal collections to reduce that, and come up maybe with a task force, and maybe put an advisory on that to Tabebo. Create a group of people who go around working, maybe block by block, checking on illegal connections. That is it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We are short of time, we are behind schedule, so members are keen to address those questions enough. Let us spare those other questions to the nominees, the next nominees. Mr. Mwandawiro. Thank you for showing interest in working with the Taita County government. If you are successful, we shall work together. If you will not succeed, we will still meet in the streets now that we know each other. Thank you. Can I declare this vetting session officially closed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't get some time to say something.
Because you are eating onto your time, but now that you've requested, let's see what you have for us.
Just basically wish to take this opportunity to thank the governor firstly for nominating me in such an important docket, and recognizing that the youth of Taita Taveta can also deliver. Because as I stand here, I'm only 32 years of age. So I wish to thank the governor for that, and I wish to thank you, members, for the interactive session that we've had, and let's take care of our environment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for those partitions. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sergeant at Arms, and you out.